Welcome back. All right, so it's a news of the day video for all you fine people for your Friday, January the 19th. We're over halfway through January already. The month's just flying. So Yanni Gourde has a hearing today for charging on Matthias Ekholm last night. That Seattle-Edmonton game had some ugliness in places. And so I'm not entirely surprised. I actually am kind of surprised that we haven't heard more from player safety over the last couple weeks. But hey, these things happen. I guess they had just a really good new year and took a couple weeks off from announcing anything, but because the last announcement from them was on January the 3rd. So yeah, we'll see how many games Gourde gets. I'm guessing I'll say two. I'll say 2 games. We'll see. We'll see how many gets. It's not an in-person hearing, so he's almost not going to be a long suspension for Yanni Gourde. So Kuzmenko last night was benched in the third period, and he did pass it to Clayton Keller in the second period. I can't prove that's what got him benched, but that's the kind of thing that if Talk had hair, he'd be ripping out. And hey, I understand the follically challenged. I'm there myself. But for Kuzmenko, it really does feel like the fit with the Canucks is just not necessarily there. I don't know what the Canucks are going to do or when. It's a matter of if you're going to trade the player, you probably want to trade him as soon as possible. That being said, there's an announcement coming up at 11 a.m. my time. It's already leaked out what the announcement likely is. Jim Rutherford has got an extension with the Canucks for the next 3 years. So Rutherford, who when he came in and he joined the Vancouver organization, I actually got an 8x10 of Rutherford with the Stanley Cup. I was like, all right, that's the dream. That's what you get. So, I talk a lot about the Canucks and I'm never going to win a cup, but I got that as soon as they hired Rutherford because I was like, you know what? He does have a Stanley Cup. He has won Stanley Cups before. So Rutherford's built a pretty good team in Vancouver along with GM Patrick Alvin, and it's kind of weird to see them at the top of the standings, but it's a good weird. It's definitely a good weird. Shane Pinto has signed an extension with the Ottawa Senators. He was an RFA. He signed a 1-year contract worth league minimum this year, $775,000. So that'll be prorated. I would think prorated. Usually that's how that works. I don't know because he was suspended too for half the season, so I'm guessing it's prorated. But Elliot Friedman's reporting that they're working on a longer-term deal. So don't be surprised if Pinto signs an extension after this has been announced. Basically, you just get him signed, get him into the lineup, and then you worry about how much money he's going to make starting next year. The rumors have been in the 4 or 5 year deal kind of range. We'll see how much he gets. But getting Pinto back for Ottawa, like last night against Montreal. Now, first off, Montreal looked pretty exhausted. I got the feeling that Montreal was tired from the last game. But either way, Ottawa wins that game 6-2. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Ottawa can win their share of games in the second half of the season with Pinto in the lineup. If that will affect what the GM does at the deadline, my guess is probably not because they're so far out of the playoffs. I don't know if a 4 or 5 game winning streak or going 5 or 6 games above 500 between now and the trade deadline will make much of a difference. But we'll see what bringing Pinto back into the lineup does for them. Boone Jenner's going to return tonight. Broken jaw for him. So he was injured December the 8th. So it's now January 19th. So if you're wondering with Bedard what the timeline looks like, there you go. Same injury, or at least similar injury. I mean, not every broken jaw is in the same area, and not everybody heals at the same rate. So Jenner coming back tonight. It ends up being right in that timeline that he was expected to come back. So all the best to Boone Jenner on his return. Sasha Barkov will not play for Florida. This is his second straight game. Now, what's interesting is yesterday he was considered just a game time decision. And this is where reporting on injuries, again, I've talked about this, I'll talk about it again. Reporting on injuries is kind of like it's an exercise of futility at times. So he's going to miss the game today, and he's considered day-to-day as well. So he could play the next game, or maybe he won't. Maybe he's going to be out till the end of the year. Maybe he'll be back halfway through the next game. Again, it's the amount of information we have. He's got a lower body injury. So for Barkov, one of the most important members of the Florida Panthers, with him being out of the lineup, maybe that helps the Wild a little bit in tonight's game, but the Wild coming off that 7-3 loss and Florida coming off an overtime loss, probably going to be pretty ornery tonight themselves. Lizotte has a lower body injury for the Kings that's going to keep him out week to week. He won't return until after the All-Star break, says Todd McClellan, the coach. So Minus Lizotte. The one thing with the Kings is that's not going to be why they're losing games. They're not very good right now. And for the LA Kings, they need to find that spark, and I'm not sure exactly what the solution's going to be, but they'd better find it quickly because they've fallen to the number 2 wild card position in the West, and there are teams beneath them who are playing better than they are right now. The Oilers jumped LA and put them in this position as well. They're now third in the Pacific after their 12th straight win. So if the playoffs started today, you'd have Vegas and Edmonton again. So, and with the way they're playing right now, Edmonton would likely win that series. But again, we don't start the playoffs in January. We start them in April. So we'll see for the Oilers how long this winning streak can go. But 12 straight wins is impressive. I know when I put up that 10-win video that people were like, well, they didn't really play anybody. Well, now they're up to 12 wins. Is it still an issue of who they've played or haven't played during this winning streak? It's remarkable. So since then, they've beaten Toronto and Seattle, both teams that are A, either above the line, or B, pretty close to it. And yeah, for the Oilers, this has been a really, really strong run, their best winning streak in the team's history. And the question then becomes just how far can this go? Let me know your thoughts. How far do you think the winning streak for the Oilers can go? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.